and welcome to Hot Flush Lawyers, the podcast where we discuss the menopause and its impact with business leaders, healthcare professionals, and other inspirational women who bring to life their personal experiences of the menopause, discuss how times have changed, and share how the menopause has affected them in their lives and careers. Now, over to our two hosts, Clare Thornton and Amanda Gait. We hope you enjoy this episode of Hot Flush Lawyers.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Hot Flush Lawyers. I forgot what we were doing then for a minute.
I forgot my name before.
So I'm Clare Thornton from Thornton Jones Solicitors in Yorkshire, and my colleague
Amanda Gait from Thornton Jones as well, but based in Ossett.
And today we have the lovely Mel Larkin, who's a health and fitness coach.
I know.
So very welcome.
It's a bit of a broad term, is it? Thank you for inviting me.
Lovely. So we're here all about your personal menopause journey, and then you hopefully might give us a few tips
that's
for
what
women.
I'm hoping, Claire, because there's so much to tell. How will I be able to keep it all in a short time frame? Who knows? But yeah, my menopause journey probably is quite boring compared to most people because there was no major highlights in it. But I think it did identify for me, because would you believe I started considering my own journey when I actually trained and certified to be an official menopause coach, as it were. It wasn't until I actually did that course back in 2020, I think I realised, oh, crikey, that's me. Like you guys will probably feel the same. You've probably gone through all the things, but at the time you just thought, oh, I'm just a bit tired, or I'm just a bit this, or, I'm sweating in bed because he's too warm and the covers everything, and you pinpoint it on something else. It's not till you learn about it you go, actually, that was probably me, and I didn't actually realise. I didn't connect the dots at the time.
No,
so how long have you been through? Have you through it?
The funny thing, no, but I don't, and that's we need to talk about. Come through it.
Okay,
that doesn't exist. So it doesn't exist.
Well, you stop your periods.
You stop your periods now. Can we go into that little bit?
Yeah, go on then.
Okay, right. So menopause. Everybody thinks this big thing of menopause. Menopause is actually one day of a woman's life.
Yep.
You probably knew that.
I know
You're
that.
acknowledging, right?
Yeah.
So this
only one day.
Claire, she's got.
I
that
didn't
look
know
on her
this.
face.
Yeah.
It's one day. So we don't all be getting excited. No, really, what happens is perimenopause, as you'll have heard that term bandied around, is just the period of time from when your hormones start to go a little bit off kilter, a little bit stuttering, up and down. That period of time between that and you having your last menstrual bleed, and it's a year. So there's got to have been an entire year between your last menstrual bleed and that point in time is your menopause. That one day. So it's effectively a retrospective looking time, back in time.
Yeah.
Have I ever period? Oh, it's been exactly a year. I'm in the menopause. It's just like, that's it. And then the next day you're postmenopausal. That's it.
Or you have a random period again.
And then you start again. I suppose that is possible after a year. After a year.
It does happen. Lots of people do get
and you know what? That's very confused by the fact that a lot of people are using the Mirena coil as well. So that can really sort of throw things out for people. But yeah, so the menopause is just one day in a woman's life, and then it's post-menopause. So we're never actually leaving the menopause space as such, ever. It's just that as we go through time after that menopause day, we are then, our estrogen receptors are becoming less. They're sort of going, this estrogen ain't coming back. I'm just going to stop working. So you're not getting your estrogen back. It's not coming back. You're not going to come through this tunnel into the grand light and go, oh, fine again. It doesn't happen.
No.
You're literally, postmenopausal, your receptors of estrogen, which are all over your body, literally. And that's why I think menopausal symptoms are so all-encompassing of the whole body. So those receptors just start to sort of dull down a bit. They're sort of saying, well, I'm bored of waiting. It's not happening.
Coming.
And then, that's when the symptoms seem to just die off a little bit. But that estrogen's never coming back. So, and I'm sure we'll talk later, if we've got time, about why then HRT is so important, because we're not getting that estrogen back. But sorry, again, I tangented off. My own journey literally started, as I say, I started to learn about it through doing this certification. But I moved house and I went to a new doctor, and at the time I was on the contraceptive pill. And she sort of said to me, I think I will have been very late 40s then. Yeah, maybe 48,
How old are you now?
49.
We haven't asked you that.
Say again.
How old are you now? We haven't asked you
52.
That.
Yeah. So I went to her and we just went through the usual getting to know your new doctor thing. She went, oh, you're on the contraceptive pill. Don't you think you're a little bit old for that?
Oh,
I remember that.
I
I was going to say it, but that, how dare you know, we don't feel 48. We just feel 25 with a little bit more wisdom, don't we? We don't feel any different.
Yeah.
So I just remember thinking, how rude. And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, you know, the risks and all that increase. Obviously, I knew at this point that her just taking me off that, albeit, you know, contraceptives are what am I looking for? Chemically altered. So the synthetic hormones, they're not great for us, although we all take it on, you know, with pleasure when we're in our 20s. Oh yeah, bring it on, contraceptives. They're a synthetic hormone. I knew even just coming off that would invoke symptoms. I just knew it because I already learned so much about the menopause through my training. So I remember saying to her, well, that's fair enough, but I'm not having you just take it off me, even though you think there's a risk. So we'll have to discuss what's going to be the replacement. And naturally, that was HRT. Yeah. And I honestly tell you, I didn't feel I was at that phase where I needed it. Because I think maybe it was being managed by the contraceptives, I'm not sure. But I didn't feel like, yes, and like I say, I look back and think, yeah, you were having a few night sweats. You were maybe your mood was up and down, but you've got to remember this coincided with lockdown and going from working in a gym environment where I was with people all day to being at home on a computer doing my job in a very different way. So I think you just associate it with stuff, don't you? I'd had a house move. We'd moved to obviously where I live now. There's loads of things, stresses in life that were going on. And I just thought, and then I think maybe it was hormonal. So it was a fairly smooth transition for me from contraceptive pill straight to HRT. There's always a settling down period, as you know, don't you? You know, everything's just thrown a little bit out. So yeah, I can say my journey has been okay. I haven't had anything really awful and traumatic happen, but I can tell
you're on
now,
HRT.
I'm HRT now, and if someone tried to take it off me, they would have a fight on their hands.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so exactly. So now I feel like I've learned so much more about it, having done this, that I sort of get that, you know, this can happen to a woman at any age. Like, I don't know what age you guys started feeling like something was wrong, or
late
if like
40s,
me.
Late 40s, I'd say.
What would you say?
My middle 40s.
And at the time, did you think it was down to this, or did you just think,
I
busy,
thought I was
I've
going
got high
mad.
pressure?
I thought it was going completely mental.
And that's really common. Women think they've got early onset dementia.
I did,
that's what you
I
thought.
thought I've had a friend whose husband referred her to the doctors for that. They thought she had dementia, and it was the menopause. I was the same. I thought that I was just going mad, completely mad.
Walk into a room, forget while you're there, and we all do that.
And you had very bad anxiety.
I had very bad anxiety, and the doctor and I actually remember vividly going to the doctor and explaining to him the symptoms that I had, and me sat there thinking, do not dare say it's the menopause. Do not dare discount this as the menopause, because I know there is something wrong with me. And he was like, no, it's the menopause. And I was like, no.
That was your GP?
Yeah.
Well, and you probably know, that's quite unusual to have a GP who actually gets it, because this is the problem, is a lot of ladies are going in with various symptoms, like say anxiety, the night sweats, and you know, the sort of hot flushes during the day, as you know, that's the common symptom.
People know that.
Yeah.
They aren't the ones that most people are struggling with.
No.
It is the anxiety. It is the sort of depressive. It's the, you know, really low mood, just can't do anything, can't be bothered with anything. A lot, as we know, in this age group, this is the highest levels of suicide, which is an awful statistic. Highest levels of divorce are in this period of time. So there's a lot of things going on that a lot of doctors wouldn't associate with hormones at all, because they just don't get it. So then you might find you go down this route of antidepressants. That's really common.
I'm still on antidepressants, but they're prescribed for a very specific thing. It was the first thing he prescribed for me, principally because I'd got to the point where the anxiety and the panic attacks were so bad that I couldn't drive.
Oh, crikey.
And I just literally couldn't drive at all.
Did I remember was it you on one of the episodes?
Yeah.
Emergency stop on
M60, on the M62, and it's just
awful.
So prescribing them to me to a certain extent, and I know it's not for everybody, was something that sort of started freeing me up to be
like
able.
It
was the ability to be able to sort of look at things rationally from that point onwards. And then I went on HRT, and I have tried to come off the anti-anxiety things, but I have panic attacks when I'm driving, so it just doesn't work for me. No. So I've just sort of accepted that's how it is.
And just because a lot of ladies, you'll know, will get directed down that route. You know, it can go even further. Yeah. There's women that are seeing psychiatric, sort of going to facilities and getting like lithium treatment. It's going so far down the line when potentially, and I use the word, it could be sorted by just looking at the hormones or giving them. And I think the great thing about HRT, maybe compared to antidepressants, is you can do it and you can come off it if it doesn't work for you. Yeah. And we know, don't we? Most women don't. No. Because they know. So, but the thing is, the difference with the two things is you could start HRT, take it for 2 months, take it for 3 months, see how you get on, come off it and it's forgotten about. Yeah. Most people don't do that, like I said, but it's out of your system. I think the half-life something like 18 hours. So within 18 hours of taking it, it's already half out of your system. Unlike antidepressants, which is a big weaning off period.
It is, there is a lot, yeah, absolutely.
And what about the other avenue of people being put on strong prescription painkillers for joint issues? That is a huge journey of coming off.
I never thought of that, because you do get lots of pain.
Absolutely. Joint pain is one of the huge things that people just feel generally. And of course that has, I know, we're tangenting off, but that has a massive knock-on effect to people keeping themselves fit and healthy. Because you imagine this sort of negative cycle of, I just feel a bit meh, my joints are aching, I feel like I'm putting on weight, but I can't be bothered to exercise, I'm not feeling like my joints to hurt too much to exercise, and then it's a downward spiral, isn't it? Whereas really HRTs are great, but it's not the magic pill, is it?
No.
You've got to look after your nutrition, you've got to look after your fitness training and keeping yourself healthy in all areas. So although it will help you maybe just give you that motivation to get back to the gym or to get back to walking or whatever it is you love doing, it isn't going to solve everything on its own.
No.
So I think that with my job as a coach, it's looking at that full holistic view. It's not just saying, right, here you go see your doctor, ask for these HRT and everything will be bright and breezy, because we know that's not the case, is it?
No.
You've got to cover all aspects of lifestyle. How do we get onto that? We just tangented off again.
I think. I hadn't sort of. This is what's so good about these podcasts. Every time we have one, I think I've got that. I didn't realise that was the menopause. I've got massive. I've had. Well, I don't have it anymore, touch wood, but I had really bad joint pains to the point where I couldn't. I used to struggle walking from a seated position, getting up and walking, because my ankles and my knees and my hips were at the agony. And I was offered at one point some quite strong painkillers, but I didn't take it, because they then said, you'd have to have some sort of stomach medication because it had upset you. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
This is the problem, and that's an avenue. A lot of women will go down just to relieve themselves of pain, and then down the opiates route, and then we've got weaning off, and then they're... Well, you can just see where that goes, can't you? That is awful. But some of the symptoms, we have a list of the common symptoms. But let's be honest, the list is not exhaustive. It goes on forever because it affects the whole body. Like, people don't realise that in common UTIs, I always say this wrong, urinary tract infections, cystitis is a really common thing in menopause because of the effect estrogen has on your, urinary tract. It makes the blood
dry.
Dry. It also makes the nobody loves talking about vaginal dryness. The V word.
I don't have it.
Vaginal atrophy is an even worse word that I've ever heard.
My vagina's just withering away and dying. It's awful, isn't it? It's a horrible
awful. That's like my mother. My mother keeps saying, "Are you dried up?"
Yeah, but a lot of women do.
A lot of women do. I mean, you listen in the olden days, not probably quite recent times, that poor women have to sit on rubber rings. Because they can't literally have contact between. I mean, it is awful. And there's so many easy solutions to that now. You don't even have to go down the official HRT route to sort that, because as you'll know, vaginal estrogens aren't classed as HRT because they don't go into the systemic blood system. So there's an easy sort.
What do you do with them then?
Well, I have a ring.
Oh, do you?
An estrogen.
Not a rubber ring to sit on. She's avoiding that at the minute.
An internal ring.
An internal one?
Which just produces enough estrogen.
Do you put that in yourself, or do you
you just literally
stick it in?
It goes whoop.
Does it?
And then it lasts about 3 months and you take it out and put a new one. And it just releases enough estrogen
Does it get in
locally? No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's creams I think you can get as well.
Pessaries, and ring. You can do creams as well. Yes, anything that sort of gets out local area, because the thing is, the dryness, horrible atrophy. I mean,
it's
please.
horrible.
Yeah, but I think just things like the fact that the lining of the tracts are getting thinner, so they're allowing infection into the bladder more.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. People are getting more infections and thinking, well, what's wrong with me? More and more antibiotics, which, as you know, has another knock-on effect to the body in terms of digestion, health, blah, blah, blah. So, a lot of these issues we're dealing with could be solved potentially by taking HRT or, like you say. Another big one that we talk about joints, frozen shoulders.
Well, we've talked about this before.
Huge.
The left shoulder in particular.
Isn't it weird?
And we were just talking about that before because Amanda had an ectopic pregnancy, and I know that's the left shoulder as well. You get pain in that.
I can't remember which shoulder it was, but it's definitely a shoulder.
It's the left shoulder, 100%. There must be some connection. I
don't know. Or is it just that? I don't know, do you use your left shoulder more for things where you're holding and stabilising? I don't know I haven't had kids, but I just think, do you do more with that side when you're manhandling children?
I don't know, it must have some hormonal impacts.
It has some receptors.
The joint, the joint get very dried out and literally frozen. I did have a client who had a frozen shoulder, and she had been told by the doctor, she was in her late 60s, she'd been told by the doctor, no more rowing machine. Don't even be thinking about trying to shut those Velux windows, those roof-light windows, and maybe not reaching up to a top shot. Well, so that was the prescription. Just don't do anything.
Don't move.
Just sit in a chair and be miserable. So she
don't bother society and die.
Die quietly. I think that's probably was the case a lot with women, but we've moved on a bit. So when she came to the gym to start seeing me, I was a bit like, don't move. Oh, don't lift weights. Don't lift weights. I mean, it's a bit vague. Don't lift weights. Well, do you class that glass of water as a weight? Don't lift what? Yeah. So I just had to really start with the baby steps, because the problem is especially women of that age, the doctor is a trusted figure, isn't it? So if the doctor says don't move or don't do this, and I listen to you, because at the time, obviously, I was a lot younger than her. If I listen to you and it goes wrong,
you're not going to be sued. Yeah.
The thought of it. So anyway, I had to just do it baby steps, and we started, the little 1 kilo dumbbells, just doing movements, body weight, bands. And now she is still a client of mine. She does my online classes, and now she can shut the Velux window. She does the rowing machine. She's doing everything that she couldn't do probably 5 years ago. And I don't know, and I'm not belittling doctors, we know they're busy people, but I just think sometimes you've got to think outside the box and think, why isn't the shoulder working? Because it's not moving. So if we then go down that route of not moving it in some way slowly with bands, then what's the end result? It's like when people say, if you've got a bad back, just lay down. Well, how's that ever going to solve the problem? You need to get moving,
I had
don't
a frozen shoulder as well.
You did, yeah.
I've had everything, haven't
I? It's so typical.
I've had a frozen shoulder, and I had this. I have to say that I must have been very lucky with the doctors that I've encountered, because I didn't feel it at the time, because I thought that he was brutal. But I went to see a doctor about it, and he said, exercise and lose some weight, and it'll alleviate it'll alleviate your joints and your shoulder. And I thought, get lost. What are you saying? I am some sort of fat. But basically that's what he said. Go and do some weight training and start exercising. And I thought, I hate you. I absolutely hate you. And but he was entirely right. And I did, and I now lift weights. I do lift weights, and I couldn't lift my this I think it might have been this arm. I can't even tell you which arm it was now.
It must have gone.
Yeah, and I couldn't even lift it beyond there. And I mean, I lift weights and all sorts now. But that was I think it is varied, the advice you get. And I did feel very much like he was very brutal with me, and possibly delivered it in a way that was a bit brutal. But it worked. It worked for me. It did work for me. It was that element of, well, lose some weight, your joints will be better for it, and you won't have as much pain, and get some exercise, because high impact exercise is going to be good for your bones, and you need to crack on and do it. And I was sat there going, I don't want to do that. I want you to give me a tablet that's going to make it better.
Or an operation.
I want you to tell me that there's actually something wrong with me. It's not just that I'm fat or old.
But you know what? In some ways, that doctor, very thinking about the whole holistic view, rather than just thinking, I'll give her a tablet to shut her up for the pain. He thought about what you could do that might take longer, but in the long term is good for your longevity and health ongoing. Whereas I think a lot of doctors, and I say it's not criticism, but I think they're very sort of siloed now with doctors. If you go in with this issue, depression, you go down this route. If you go in with this joint pain, you might go down the physio route. If you go in with the UTIs, you might go down that route, gynecology. So it's all put into a box, when sometimes the doctor, even if they are brutal, might have to just bring it back and go, is there a common denominator here? Is it this lady is of... And I don't like to say of an age, because you can start with perimenopause from as soon as you've had your first period. There is, you'll follow probably Louise Newson if you understand. She's had cases come in at like 16, 18 where they are perimenopausal because their ovaries aren't working properly. You've also got sort of teenage girls that might have had chemotherapy for something. That's going to take you down that route. So it can happen at any age. So I don't want to just class ladies of a certain age. But I think some doctors have to just look at the whole picture and go, could this be alleviated just by looking at the hormones? And you guys are probably already aware that you can't just get a blood test. It's not a blood test and, here's the answer. Once you get over probably the age of 40, the blood tests just aren't reliable.
No.
So especially over 40, if you're over 45 and a doctor said, I'm going to diagnose your menopause or perimenopause with a blood test, well, potentially they need a bit of extra training, because that isn't
symptom-based, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think even from age of 40, it probably should be symptom-based. Because I think the problem is you have a blood test, and generally you might go and get that blood if it suits your schedule. You might go at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you might go at lunchtime. Your blood hormone levels are going to be different at both those times.
Yeah, of course.
And if you have that blood test done at 2 a.m, when you're laying wide awake looking at the ceiling and maybe having a sweat, that'll give you the real indicator. But who does that?
No.
Or I'm going to come at 2 a.m. because that's when I know the problem is. It's not going to happen. So straight away you get your blood test done. Oh yeah, you look fine, and you go away thinking, what's wrong with me?
I don't feel fine.
I'm going mad.
Yeah.
I'm going completely mad. Everything's hurting. I'm just a physical wreck.
Yeah.
And probably start to blame everything else, your husband, your job, the kids, or whatever it is that's going on in life.
Yeah.
So I do think the doctors, you're very lucky if you can find quite a
I
won't say sympathetic, because he wasn't, was he?
No, he wasn't. He was brutal. But saying that, he was a doctor who was a lot older, and both of these two doctors, they were two separate doctors, have subsequently retired, and I do think that now there is this pressure on doctors to almost, because I think we live in a society where that you want to be diagnosed and you want to give, and so you've got 10 minutes and okay, I've got to get this person out of the office, and therefore
with
there's a tablet.
Paper.
There you go.
Yeah.
Whereas the two doctors that I saw were much more of the old school ones, where we sat there and I was like, well, I think we've only got 10 minutes, and he was like, nah, it doesn't matter. We need to talk through it, and we need to and we had conversations where he was like, you need to have this and we need to do this with you. And I think the first question he asked me was, how old are you? And I was like, don't start with this.
Yeah. You feel like it's going down that route, don't you? And I think for a lot of us, we don't. If we feel young at heart and we're still active, and you don't want, it was like a label of menopause. Even I couldn't stand it. I felt like it just suddenly changes you from one day to the next. I was young and now suddenly I'm old because I've got this label, which luckily it's becoming more and more that people are getting it a lot more, that it's not just like you've jumped over this bridge into later life and it's like everything's gone wrong.
You're old.
Yeah.
You're old and
you're
might
running
as well
down the beach with a fan. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it is good that it's getting more out there. But I think the HRT thing, I think it's probably, you've noticed from talking to people, there's still a massive amount of fear around it, isn't there?
There is, yeah, there is.
Which I wish everybody could listen to us three, because they'd be like, no.
I think there's less fear than there was.
Less. Certainly, okay. I've seen it mark change.
There are older women than us who actually could still benefit from being on HRT, who their generation, I think, are a bit more like over 70 say.
Stoic though they are a bit, aren't they? Well, you've just got to put
You have
up
people
with
saying,
it.
I'm going to try and get through it without medication, which is fine.
That's fine.
But it's not medication, it's hormone.
No.
It's hormone. It's
I
not
think
a
there's
drug,
this real thing,
is
isn't it? Because you get this medication on a prescription, automatically in your head it is a medication.
Yeah.
And really, it's just body identical. Actually, as we were saying earlier, when they were doling out the contraceptive pill or whatever,
No one
the
questioned it,
contraceptive, nobody even said there was a risk there. But there's a synthetic hormone. It's been chemically altered, and it doesn't. And also, it's going in your mouth generally if it's the pill, so it's going through your whole body, through your liver, everything else. Whereas most of us are on transdermal. It's just going straight into the bloodstream. There's no systemic effect. But no, it's like the doctors were so quick to get you on contraceptives because they wanted to control, unwanted pregnancy. But then you try and convert over to, I want HRT, and there's suddenly this big fear around medication at my age, And it isn't, because it's body identical, as you know, made from soy and yams and whatnot. So it's not even like we've got this big issue of pregnant horses urine anymore. Which used to
that
be
was
the
my
thing.
issue, previously, where I thought, because I'm vegetarian, and it was one of the reasons why I was like, no, I'm not doing HRT, I'm not doing it. And then somebody had said to me, well, it's not that anymore. It's not that anymore. And I was like, well, why have I been trying to get, why have I been trying so
There's
long?
so much misinformation out there. And this is the problem. Like you were saying, ladies in their 70s, in fact, my mum, we're going to go, she can't get any joy with the doctor. Because they've said, look, you've come through it, there's no benefit to you. But because of what I know, I said, I think there is in terms of future health. They won't entertain it. So we were thinking, no, won't even entertain it. They gave her vaginal estrogen, and she was like, well, actually, that isn't my issue, really. But that's all they would give her. So I said, look, we need to go private. So I've just had her private bloods done so we can look at them ourselves and then go speak to someone privately. Because I think it would be a benefit. I mean...
Like your bone health,
and
your heart health.
Well, in fact, I've got a list here because the diseases. Estrogen is an anti-inflammatory, as you know. It's an anti-inflammatory hormone. The list of heart disease, like you say, cardiovascular disease, dementia, type 2, clinical depression, osteoporosis, neurodegenerative diseases and autoimmune diseases have all been seen to be reduced, or the risk is higher if you don't take HRT. Because estrogen is just the whole body.
The whole body,
Wow.
It's literally the whole body. But obviously, again, I know we're saying about the ladies in the 70s, probably those ladies back in the day, some of them were prescribed HRT because it was quite a buzz thing at certain age. I think, And then we had this women's health study that just literally kiboshed everything, didn't it? The fear went out there. Everyone was like coming off it. And that's exactly what happened with my mum. She started on it, came off it. And now we're getting back into that realm where it's like, right, a lot of the stuff that happened in that study that scared us has been disproved.
Yeah, it has,
So it's a shame, really, because I think a lot of ladies are still left with all that negative feeling about it.
That's right. A lot of it comes from your mum, doesn't it? I mean, not my mum, but that generation then fed that fear to the next generation. Not wittingly, but unwittingly.
No.
But
And I
it's
think you're
got so
right.
many benefits to people now.
Absolutely. And I think you're saying about that generation older than us being a bit more stoic. You're right. It was put up and shut up, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
That age group, it's like, this is just, you're a woman, you just get on with what you've got to do. And I do
or you just fade into the background.
Yeah.
And you stop working and you stop being a useful member of society because you're just old. And you just go and rock in your rocking chair and knit for the grandchildren.
Look
and that's
after the
it.
grandkids,
Whereas our generation, we're just not going to do that. And
No.
It'll be interesting to see how we age further into our 70s in the future, because I don't think we'll accept.
We'll behave badly.
I think we will behave badly.
Yeah,
we're not going to just do it. My mum talks about feeling I've forgotten the word. But invisible, that's the word.
Yes.
She feels invisible. But I just say, Mum, don't let people be invisible.
No.
She does it sometimes now. I can see her going back and going, oh, come on, Mum, just tell them.
It's a shame,
but
isn't it?
That's a whole generation of people.
Generation thing.
Whereas our generation, the empowered women, much more of us are anyway.
Definitely.
We're not going to accept that, and I think we're going to use HRT to help us into our older ages, to be fit, and strong, and healthy. And,
absolutely.
Which is where people like you come in. So tell me about your because
my role in this whole thing.
I'm keen to understand. Lots of women talk about having this band of fat around their middle, which I think is a natural product of menopause.
Yeah.
Are there tips you can give us that we can do
Now I know what you're going to say, Claire. You're going to say, do I have to do a load of sit-ups to get rid of
that?
Well,
I do loads of sit-ups.
No,
but they don't go.
Let's dispel that. I know it's going off the menopause. Well, it is on the menopause subject because let's just go back. So that bit of fat round the middle. Okay, so obviously your body is detecting that your estrogen is dropping, albeit it's not linear, it's dropping. And it's saying to itself, right, we've got to try and mediate this loss somehow. And fat cells contain a weak version of estrogen called estrone. I think I've got the one right. So there's 3 types of estrogen. Estradiole's like the queen bee. That's the one we get in our gel or spray. And you've got estrone as well. And estrone, I think, is the one that's stored in fat cells. So when your body detects estrogen's dropping, right, what can I do? Let's cling on. Let's cling on to these fat cells just to keep our estrogen up. So a lot of people will say to me, so if I take HRT, will that redress the balance? And yes, it will do. I don't think it's going to completely take you back to the washboard stomach of potentially your 20s. But I think we just have to admit that...
That's fine. That's well gone.
It's well
I've
gone.
had children, there's no chance.
I often talk to clients when I'm consulting with new clients and they say, well, they might be in the 50s or 40s. Well, I'd like to be, I was 10 stone or 9 stone 5 when I was, 21. And I sort of have to just sort of manage their expectations a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, okay, we can lose some weight, but potentially you're a different person now to what you were then.
Yeah.
So in terms of getting back to your question, exercise-wise, no. You cannot spot reduce fat with exercise. No. That is completely and utterly a myth. I'll give you an example that might make this clearer. So if you think about a professional tennis player, all they do all day is hit a ball with the same arm. Generally, they've got a strong arm. Do you find when you measure the fat on that arm that it's less? No, you don't. Because they might have more muscle on that arm. Yes. But the fat probably won't be any less. It's just evenly distributed. And they are using that arm continuously. So if we apply that to sit-ups, it's not, unfortunately, that isn't a thing. So no spot reduction, but what you can do is just reduce your overall fat.
Yeah.
Obviously, yes, sit-ups are very valuable because once you've stripped that fat away, you have a nice, bit of shape underneath there because we've all got a six-pack. I know you don't believe me, but every single one of us has got a six-pack. It's just a little bit more hidden.
Mine's a bit hidden.
Maybe we've probably got an 8-pack. It's just a little bit more hidden. So I think it's general all-over exercise and weight training, as you know. You're probably sick of hearing these words, aren't you? But weight training, resistance training, it doesn't even need to be the weights. Resistance training, body weight, band, so valuable. Because the sad statistics are that a lot of ladies are ending up, I think it's 1 in 2 over the age of 50-something end up with a osteoporosis-related fracture. And the problem is it's generally not other diseases that end up killing women. It's getting a hip fracture from a slip, trip or fall in the winter into hospital with a hip fracture. Catch something, exactly, an infection. I hate to say it, but that's usually a massive risk for ladies. It's not it's not going to hospital with a cold or whatever, a flu or whatever it is you go. It's that. It's literally. So if we can protect our bone and muscle by HRT, obviously great. Doing more resistance training, eating a protein-rich diet, all the usual stuff. I don't need to teach you guys this. Protein-rich diet, plenty of fresh veggies, plenty of fluids. Supplements, we can talk about if you like. There are certain supplements I would recommend, and I know there's probably ladies listening to this out there that have seen all the supplements for menopause and realise...
I've tried everything.
Oh, God, honestly. It really does grind my gears because there's people out there that are selling menopausal face creams, right? So tell me how that differs from a normal, decent face cream. You don't even have to spend a lot of money on face cream, do you?
No.
As long as it's got the general ingredients. But menopausal face cream, right, so what's that going to do for me? So they'll lead you to believe that that's going to increase the estrogen somehow in your skin. And it isn't even possible, is it? Menopause shampoo. I've never heard anything so ridiculous in my life. But I think the supplements-wise, menopause supplements, yes, there are probably a few of the supplements you've heard of, like ashwagandha, maybe a few of those things that might help with certain symptoms. And just reiterating that, they might help with symptoms. They are not going to bring your hormone levels back to what they were in your 30s or your 20s. It's not impossible without HRT. They are maybe just going to mitigate the effect of some symptoms, which is it's not a bad thing. No. But I think with a lot of these symptoms, if you go on Dr. Google and research menopause supplements, my goodness, I'd hate to think what the result would be. And you could try them. Hopefully they're not going to do you any harm. There's a few we've got to be careful with, like St. John's wort. You just got to be careful with contraindications with other medication you might be on, like antidepressants and stuff like that, because of the effect those medications have on maybe the liver and things like that. But if you want to try a supplement, try it for 3 months. Has it had an effect? No. Well, it's probably flipping useless then.
What do you take then?
So I take, in terms of a health point of view, I would definitely, I don't like to say prescription because that's the wrong word, but blanketly I would advise people to take vitamin D3. Yeah, at least for 4,000 IU a day, international units. I would take omega-3 every day.
Okay.
I take creatine monohydrate. I don't know if we want to talk about that because that's one of those words. Creatine got a bit of a bad rap, didn't it? Oh, creatine, that's for bodybuilders, isn't it? That's like practically a steroid. Well, it really isn't.
No.
Creatine monohydrate is a really cheap supplement, really good for if you're strength training or doing training, really good for energy levels. And it's also been now found in research to have loads of fantastic cognitive benefits. So for menopausal women who are already struggling a bit with brain stuff, it's really good. Honestly, I would say the only time I would step back a bit with creatine is if I had a weight loss client that I'd just taken on, because women are very focused on the scales, aren't we? Very focused, and I think we can weigh ourselves every day. And if it's gone up, it's all gone wrong, Well, whereas, over the month with hormones and everything, it can vary a lot and we're looking at a consistent loss over time. But anyway, clients that are really hyper-focused on scale weight, because when you start taking creatine, the way it works is it helps you uptake fluid into the muscles, gives you more energy, gets glycogen into the muscles, you can train a bit harder, get a few more reps in. But that may reflect a slight increase on the scales, but it's not fat. It's just a little bit of water weight in the muscles. So there is that. I have to sort of have that conversation with people with creatine, but I'd still blanket, I would say everyone could benefit from that. I tend to take a multivitamin and mineral, and I think that is just a bit of a belt and braces approach, because I think I'd have a very healthy diet, all the fruit and veg, but I think we're sort of realising in this day and age the quality of our food isn't
it's not
really used to be, is it? We're over farming the land. There's no nutrients in the soil. We're processing food. It's sitting in a factory for months on end, and then it's coming to us. So naturally, the nutrient density of that food isn't what it used to be. So let me think. What else do I take?
Do you do collagen?
In fact, it's funny you just mentioned that. I did recently start taking it as a shake on a morning. I was very dubious about collagen, because when I first started researching it, I realised collagen is quite a cheap byproduct of animal slaughter, let's be honest. It's bits that's also left over. I thought, just
fish or bovine, innit?
Yeah, I have the bovine stuff, but if you're a vegetarian, So I was sceptical. I thought, if you're eating a decent protein-filled diet, you shouldn't need it, really. But there's been a bit more research recently say it's good, and but I still think if you're eating a very protein-rich diet with all your amino acids covered, potentially you maybe don't need it. But again, I've started having it in a scoop in my shake on a morning. I also take magnesium on a night and zinc. I think for ladies who have sleep issues, there's a few things to talk about here. One is caffeine intake. My goodness me. Yeah, I've already spotted that. What time is it? In the morning. No, it's only 12 o'clock. We'll let you off.
Don't do it later on in the day.
No more.
You'd be surprised, women. Oh my goodness! I've literally just started with a new client, and we got talking about sleep. She's struggling with sleep. I thought, right, let's get down to this. Did a questionnaire. How many cups of caffeinated drinks do you have a day? Because caffeine, it's not just coffee. Green tea's got caffeine in. Yeah. Certain ones don't. Tea, Diet Coke. People still don't realise how much caffeine's in Diet Coke. Yeah. Dr. Pepper, stuff like that. And she said 10 a day. And I remember thinking,
I'd take 10 cups of tea a day. I could probably.
Could you?
Could you?
Easily. I gave her a right rollicking. I was thinking, so if we're trying to really back off the tea or the caffeinated drinks after 2 p.m, because caffeine has a half-life, I know we've talked about half-life, we're getting very scientific, has a half-life of 6 hours. So if you take a caffeinated drink in at even 2, if you make it at 2 p.m, you might not finish it until 3 if you're sitting at a desk and you're busy and it's clap cold. You might still be drinking it at 3. So 6 hours from 3 o'clock, half that caffeine is still in your bloodstream flying around, half the quantity. Wow. So if that's 3 o'clock, that's 9 o'clock. Yep. And then you're obviously going to bed with potentially
still half of it in you.
Maybe, depending on what time you go to bed. So I really try and say to people, right, cut off 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, no more caffeinated drinks. People go, I don't like decaf tea. I don't like decaf coffee. It doesn't really taste any different because caffeine hasn't really got a taste.
No.
So it's this mental association with, I need a coffee or I need a tea because it's going to make me more productive or whatever. Generally, if you make yourself a decaf coffee, I don't think you feel a lot different. You know, I think people become very desensitised to caffeine, don't they? I think it's overused. So cutting off at 2:00. We're getting into sleep, weren't we? And then things like, you know, the obvious stuff like your sleep hygiene, your room, nice and quiet, cool, as we well know, not having too many duvets and stuff on. In fact, I give quite a good tip to a client recently who said her husband's always cold in bed and she's always warm. So I said, I know it's not really romantic, but if you're in like a king size bed, how about having 2 single duvets?
Yeah, we have that. Yeah.
Do you? Yeah. So it's not such a stupid suggestion.
Yeah.
First you feel like, it almost feels like we're in separate beds somehow.
It's lovely. Oh, it's lovely. He has a winter quilt and I just have a sheet.
I know. Well, we've got a super king bed actually. So we've got this big super king duvet. And I started thinking, so I end up pushing it all to his side and just getting a sheet. So he's got this massive stack of duvet hanging over. I was like, whoa. Anyway, so the sleep thing, caffeine, that's a big one, a huge one. But I take magnesium biglycinate before bed, and honestly, I think that has revolutionised my sleep. It really has. I don't know what you guys are like, but I don't really have a struggle falling asleep.
No, it's waking up in the middle of the night.
Waking up in the middle of the night. And I have found, when you get up, you think, oh, do I need a wee? Yeah, I must do. Right, off you go for a wee, get back. And then suddenly brains, right, what have I got to do today?
Yeah.
So this. So I think for me is that side of it. The magnesium, and it's the biglycinate or magnesium glycinate I use, has helped me just drift back off. To the point sometimes in the morning, I always wake up before my alarm in the morning. So I've got a pretty regular sleep routine, but I can still tend to sleep up to that point of getting up. And that's another one I've just highlighted to myself. Sleep routine is, I would say it's number one around with caffeine. People have such inconsistent sleep routines. And I think I found this recently talking to one of my clients that on a weekend, because it's a weekend, I'm allowed to stay up late. And already those 2 nights of staying up maybe 2 hours later knocks on to Monday and Tuesday. I mean, you know how the clock's changing. It seems to affect everybody. It's 1 hour.
Yeah. They need to stop doing that.
I know. It is. It's painful,
Yeah,
isn't
but it's
it?
nice when the nights are lighter.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the only
would
good
get
thing.
anywhere.
Yeah,
it would have.
I totally agree. I think it's, you know, it's funny, we're tangented again, but there is statistics about the levels of heart attacks that happen, and they're higher around the times of clocks changing. So I think it really throws people's sleep off. The alarm goes off, it's like a shock to the system, and well,
You have a heart attack.
you have a heart attack. Well, you know, things like
can
that happen.
imagine,
'Cause do you know when that feeling when your alarm goes off and you're going to hold it for in the morning, you feel like what's happening? There's some burglar. Your heart's jumping out your body, isn't it? So consistency. I think, you know, we're talking about that 1 hour of the clocks changing. If you go to bed 2 hours later just on a weekend, how do you think you're going to get back into a routine on Monday? You're not. I just think, I know it's really boring. I feel like the fun sponge, but I think you've got to keep your routine regular. Going to bed, if it's between 10:30, 11:15 or whatever it is for you, getting up 6:30, 7:00, whatever it is for you, and keep it the same. And if you can keep it the same on a weekend, honestly, it's a winner. I've done it recently, and I know sometimes on Sunday I think, why am I downstairs at 7:00? You know, even if you go down and watch telly and have a coffee or whatever. Just keeping that routine, because then that next night I'm in bed asleep, and I now don't have an alarm clock. I just wake up without anything, which is a nice feeling, because like we said, that alarm going off, I honestly feel like you've got a burglar in the house. It's such a shock. So I think for sleep, they're my big tips. Consistent day and your circadian rhythm. Consistent going to bed and wake time. Caffeine, not after 2. Keeping your room cool and dark. And then the magnesium.
And how long does the magnesium take? So, because I buy all supplements. I buy loads of supplements.
You've been on Google.
I never take them. I've got like a big tray.
full?
I've got a big tray
Just
full
start
of
a shop.
Yeah, like this. So I've got some magnesium. I've never taken it.
Goodness.
So
What are you doing that for?
well, because I read that it was really good for you,
It
and
is
then so
very
I
good.
ordered it on Amazon, and then I've never got round to taking it. So I've got
Like your
literally,
bedside
I've
table.
got every supplement known to man, and I don't take any of them, but apart from vitamin D, because I was prescribed that.
Yeah.
So how long does it take to kick in? Do you need to be taking it for a long time before you notice the benefits, or is it going to be straight away?
I think I noticed that within a few days easily.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
But it's got to be consistent again. It's like
Yeah.
Isn't it? The thing is, it's a really tedious thing to say, but our bodies like consistency in every aspect of life.
Yeah.
don't they? I mean, even like with your HRT, if you forgot to do it a few days, you might even notice the effect of that.
Yeah.
So I think keeping that consistency
you would,
wouldn't you? Because we've seen how quickly it's out of your system.
Yeah.
So I think keeping consistency in every aspect of life, when that comes down to your training regime, if you want to train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, keep it there. Or if you have to swap it around, fair enough, keep it there. If your sleeping routine, your supplement routine, it's got to be consistent now. And this is
a bedside table.
I'm going to get them sorted when I go home.
Good. I'm going to be checking on you, Amanda. So I hate, this is another thing we all hate doing, because it reminds you of old people. You know, the pill sup.
Yeah, the box.
Yeah. I've got one. It's got a day and a night.
I've got one, but I haven't filled it.
Oh my! Honestly, right. We need to have a deeper chat.
I've got literally a tray full of these vitamins with one of those things that like a pill boxes, and it's got morning, afternoon for each of the days.
I've had a pill in it. I've had a tablet in it.
No, they've got no.
So your HRT, you on through the patch ones?
No, mine's just the tablet. It's just an estrogen
How
one.
do you remember to take that then?
Because it's by my bedside.
Right. See, you're answering your own questions.
Put the magnesium next to it.
Yeah, no, but it's I suppose I've got this sort of thing with taking vitamins when I go to bed that I've got this sort of silly thing that it's just like, it's going to lay on my stomach and I'm going to end up feeling sick.
No, magnesium doesn't, because I have that.
Yeah.
The multivitamin and mineral, they make me feel.
Yeah.
I just sometimes, if I forget, if I do it on the morning before I've eaten, because I tend to not have food till fairly late. I don't tend to have first thing breakfast like most people. So I've done it before I took that, and then I get this saliva. Oh, yeah.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I feel really ill after it.
It's a mineral within that, but the magnesium, from my own experience, it doesn't have that effect.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't make me sick. My vitamin C tablet doesn't have that effect. Something in the multivitamin, haven't pinpointed what it is yet.
I thought it was the iron, because I almost get that sort of irony taste, metallic taste with it.
Yeah.
The
other thing I do, I use a weighted eye mask, which is I've used it for about 5 years, and it really made a difference to my sleep. I put it. I don't know whether it's psychologically. When that comes down, it's like
you're in sleep mode.
Yeah, and it keeps it dark, obviously. But the slight pressure of it, it's like got beads inside. It's soft. It's lovely.
I've got one of those that you heat up to get the oils in the eyes.
Well,
I've got dry eyes.
We didn't talk about dry eyes. That's another menopausal symptom, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dry eyes.
Menopausal symptom.
Itchy ears she has.
Like some dry inside your ears.
Dryness. It's general dryness.
Just general atrophy.
I haven't got dry down there, but I've got dry everywhere else.
I've got dry down there and not dry up here.
Yeah, but that's really common. And another common one is feeling like that
itchy skin.
Especially, I think, feet. You know, where the bones are really the bones are really close to the feet, and it's like you can almost feel like you're going to itch the skin off. That was another thing I had, but again, before this whole time, I just thought, well, there's something in my washing powder.
Yeah. You're allergic to something.
Yeah, you just make all these reasons why, don't you? And when you start to connect it, you feel a bit an idiot, really, don't you? You've missed it all, but it's what you don't know. You don't know.
No, you don't.
With these
Do you think those supplements are going to ease those things in any way, or not?
There is certain supplements that we talked about that that we need to just be aware. In isolation, they might deal with certain symptoms. They are not going to solve the idea of the whole thing of menopause altogether. So they might help alleviate certain things, but I think the only way to replace your hormones, let's be honest, is by taking HRT.
Yeah.
So otherwise, it's just a case of, right, well, I'm going to manage the symptoms, and I'm going to just realise that potentially the health risks of not having my hormones, I'm just going to accept. Which I don't think I'd want to.
No, I don't. Absolutely.
So I think the health benefits for me are outweighing
everything else.
At the moment, there may be slight risk. They talk about breast cancer, and obviously a lot of those have been disproved.
And we all get our boobs checked. Now, anyway, once you're over 50, you do, don't you?
And even people who have the gene mutation, maybe, and they're really scared about it. In the end, I think, and we probably use this as our final point, in the end, you have a choice. You weigh up whether those benefits you are going to gain in terms of health outweigh a small risk on this side.
Yeah.
And if you decide that those benefits are greater than that small risk, then why not?
Absolutely.
Because I think otherwise, okay, I'm going to live my life in misery and behold these symptoms, but at least I won't get breast cancer, but you still might.
You still might.
You
still
see?
might, yeah.
So exactly. I think it's really important that everybody's got a choice and the education to make an informed choice for themselves.
That's brilliant. Thank you. We have learnt a lot.
I have.
That
I
was
could talk to
interesting.
you for hours.
Yeah.
Come back on if you'll have
Yeah, we'll have
me.
a longer session.
Or we could.
I'm going to get a list of questions for
Yeah,
you for
we have
next
a
time.
specific topic we stick.
Well, Mel is a personal trainer, so you know. You can
we
always
can do the
instruct her.
fitness stuff.
Yeah,
We can do
fitness
the health
stuff,
stuff. But you know what? I've done these seminars where I talk about this stuff. I end up every time when I've done them in like public. We end up on the HRT, and that's the subject everybody wants to know about. So we end up spending all the question time talking about HRT, even though I might have touched on fitness and touched on food and touched on all the facts. That's the subject people want to know about every time. So,
well, thank you very much, Mel.
Thank you.
You are very welcome.
I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Hot Flush Lawyers podcast. Please be sure to follow and share this podcast and join in the conversation on our socials. We look forward to sharing our next episode with you very soon.